sisters, and we can see it's so lovely. When we feel free, and we can sing. Brothers and sisters, it's so lovely. Real talk, brothers and sisters. It's so lovely when one feels free. Welcome to another EBX and Lord Lamont show. Thus, EBX discussion, and where sometimes I speak by oneself, or my son and I, Lord Lamont, we have a discussion, and we'll be doing a father and son discussion, or we'll be having a father and son discussion Friday as usual. And I'm not gonna say what we're gonna speak on. I'm gonna let it be a surprise, but it's gonna be concerning music, of course, and we're going to get into some deep things, some stuff I've kind of observed in the media about music, and there's a lot of things going on, as we know. But we dissect and discuss each topic, especially sometimes fun and joy, like I always say, but the issues of the world, ways and sways, one by one, as we all do, strategically, and it's wonderful. So that's why I always honor thy ancestors who fought, so very hard, brother and sister who are a general, far and near, to get many of us in a great divine space that we are in. It's like, the more we go up in levels of awareness, the more thankful we become, because that abundance that we have put in that divine bank, we get to cash it in life. And, it's wonderful. It's better than any amount of money or materialism or attention. It's the most beautiful thing in the world when great divine puts that spotlight on us, and it's wonderful, and thank those that's been riding along, current subscriber, new subscriber, anybody that view, I salute you and thank you, as well as my son, Lord Lamont, and keep looking for music from him, myself, and L'Oreal Lyrical. May she rest in peace and in power. Every time I speak and my son and I speak, those we held dear, those that were in my family, they're always with me. Every time I speak, L'Oreal Lyrical, as well as others in one's family. I always carry thy ancestors with me. That's why I have that in this description. That's not trying to look smooth or be cool. No, it's because we all gonna be ancestors one day. So ponder that. So those who are wasting time and not learning things, I'm not talking about not enjoying our life or having fun or laughing, as my son and I discussed comedy, and he had me cracking up too, but again, when it's time to stand on business, mind, body, and soul, that's when we got to be ready, because there's things coming, as I like to say, coming at us at all angles, if not every angle. And as you can see on the banner and or thumbnail, as I always say, there will always be depictions of nature, the mountains above and beyond. We got to keep a wide scope thinking so we can be ready for things. It's wonderful. And spell breakers, listen to our righteous spirit. Listen to that righteous spirit. Not just listen to our spirit, that righteous spirit, and fight any unwanted thoughts that may enter our body. Not that we always have random thoughts, but in a way we do, especially with all this technology. And but salute to the righteous brothers and sisters out there, and salute to my family, my divine family, my biological family, my biological children, my divine children. Salute them. May that great divine protect us, keep us with clarity, righteously, and prospering, and pass it on to others. Because what's the business that we got to be in? Building generals. But what's that first general that needs to be developed, built, and stabilized? Is ourselves, because everywhere we go, there we are. No one knows us better than we know ourselves. So get to know ourselves so we can observe our own behaviors before we, throw a rock at a glass house or whatever. Look at our own house, so to speak, make sure our own foundation is straight, before we, quotation marks, pass judgment on others. Just a general thing, and have an understanding of each other as brothers and sisters, 'cause like I said, there's a lot of warriors out there that are standing up for right things and humanity and our culture, man, if you are in circles like that, man, thank yourself, salute yourself, and always give those who give those credit who have put in the work and have been, putting it down righteously for decades. Because I'm connected to brothers and sisters like that, as well as family. If you got somewhat of a stable family, be thankful. And if you are the stable one in that family, do whatever you can to give, be wise and give things that we know and enlightenment. Because, with the shutdown and the stamps and everything else that tie into it, because it's more than that. It's deeper than that. And we can see it. And my son and I discussed this. It hasn't really hit some people yet. And like I say, for those who were just living upright, the common man, common woman that's doing what they're supposed to do, in life, and got hit with the shutdown, may that great divine protect them. But those who just flat out not trying to do nothing, just been laying around, wasting time, and then the moment the the candy get pulled out your mouth, so to speak, symbolically, that candy get pulled. You know how they say, the old saying goes, take a candy away from a baby. That's what it's like, taking things away from lazy people. That lazy thinking, I'm talking about healthy people, male or female, that just been living off the system and not trying to do nothing for themselves and learn anything. That's what happens. Nothing lasts forever. So that's why you hear so many philosophers speak on elevation, learning things ourselves, not just from schools or the system. We can be inspired by others, but it always go back to, what teaching spirit do we have in ourselves? What can we bring to the table, no matter what it is? And it's not always having a platform. Remember, a platform is just a place of expression. With the great divine and Mama Nature, what I have on my banner and or thumbnail. Remember, the great divine is the masculine energy. Mama Nature is the feminine energy. And we need both, but in balance. Not confusion, chaos, or mixed together. Making it look normal when it's not. Anything that's against nature is going to be consequences down the road, whether it's sooner or later. I don't care how evil scientists of the world try to make this happen and make that happen. Anytime, not sometimes, any and every time one goes against Mama Nature and that righteous principle of divine and Mama Nature, danger. That's things I don't play with. I don't play with that great divine. I don't mess with death. I don't play with people's life, and I don't play with my own life, because we'll never see things that way, above and beyond. I reiterate every now and then, we can't see what's beyond if we're stuck or stagnant in toxic things that's before us. That's why we go deep into our divine core. Stand on business when it's time to, mind, body, and soul. And all three are very, 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 very important. One can't work without the other. Hands down. We need our mind, we need our body, and the soul is what runs it all, because the soul is connected to our psyche. And all the hardest battles, that's where they're fought. That's where the real wars are, my generals, as most of us probably know, is in that psyche. You win there, you've already won. But if you lose there, you've already lost. Because again, as many of us say, and we should know by now, if we're chaotic within, everything we touch will become chaos. Thus, person, place, thing. So listen. Really listen to our righteous spirit. Not just our spirit, our righteous spirit. I'm telling you. Because once we come into that truth about oneself, it will leak out onto the world. We start viewing the world different. We'll come into more creative gifts. That's another reason we dig inside and get all that garbage out of us. That, I say this every other podcast, but, some people think they can override gravity and think they can just do what they want to do. There's no principle. There's no karma. No matter what we think about karma, this, that, and the third, live a certain life. What we put out is what the hell we get back. That's more than just a saying. It really is. It becomes a reality. And what I always say, folks, a false sense of reality is danger. So tap into our survival skills. Fuck this system, fuck them stamps, except for those who, again, I'm not talking down on those who, that were doing right by those things. But, Great divine allows certain things to happen. Again, I say weak as that be. They think they have power, but they really don't. It's an illusion. Just like highly weird, a very powerful illusion. Great divine has the power, as well as Mother Nature has the power. Overall, I've spoke on this many times. I did a podcast on that. Divine Mama Nature has the power at the end of the day, if we're studying these things and paying attention. But again, if you've been as brother, sister, or male or female that hasn't learned nothing years upon years, and you're getting up in age, and some of these sisters that got out, I'm not talking about I'm talking about the righteous sisters that may have kids, had a lot of kids, but but are good at heart. I'm not talking about y'all, but we know the type, and we got to call it for what it is. Got to speak that truth. The type that, I'm not talking about the good sisters now, but the sisters that have been abusing the system and these stamps and stuff for years upon years, had ample opportunity and never took it. Just laid around making kid after kid after kid, and no expectations, no purpose, not even trying to work, because that's what keeps the body productive as well as our mind. We can't let our mind get lazy. Always got to kind of stay thinking and learning, especially when we get up in age and we have children. Because that's one thing I will say about my son Ethan's mom. Salute to Ethan, which is doing well, and been spending time with him. I volunteered last week, and I will be volunteering this week. He got a field trip Wednesday, so I got to pack him a lunch for him, and I already got it. I just got to drop it off to him. Now, doing well. I'm so proud of all my children, biological and divine, far and near, because all children are our children. They're our responsibility, whether we think they are or not. Again, that came to me a few days ago in my meditation. Great Divine spoke to one, told me to do something educational. Don't just bring snacks or nothing like that. No, once we get the youth's attention, pour as much knowledge in them, and with being wise and information, things that can benefit them in the future, man, as much as we can. Drop a jewel here and there every time we see a youth. I know I do. So that's why we have to stay aware of oneself and other things, so we can catch things and miss things, so to speak, because our mind is open, our pineal gland is open, but as we all say, not for everything. Spiritual awareness is beautiful when one is on point and know what it's about and has stability in one's soul, mind, body, and soul. Remember, folks, one can't work without the other. It's impossible. And as we say, eating plays a part, stretching, exercising. It's so many things that tie into our body. It's just not one, it's a million things, rest, and but it's a practice. We have to stay on it. Something my son, Lord Lamont, and I spoke on. We have to stay on it. We have our rest moment. And that's what, like when we're getting our rest, that's when it really feels good when we, I've heard other brothers and sisters, kind of say this too, but it does. It feels good when we earn our peace. We earn our rest, and don't feel guilty about sometimes when we do have to take solitude. We connect with brothers and share our wise power, that knowledge that we have gained throughout the years as righteous generals out there. Salute our fellow spell breakers, as my son came up. That was his idea. And and being those spell breakers that we are, and looking down through the fires that we have blazed through, just like, wow, man, it's amazing when one clings to that righteous spirit. That's why I said listen, emphasis on listen to our righteous spirit. It will lead us, and man, I don't care what things look like. It all depends on how we are in that gut, So, again, when one has been relying on the system and just not doing nothing for themselves, and they got children involved, that's what make it worse. And getting on this internet and begging, it's not going to help. You make yourself look stupid, Again, tap into them survival skills, see what we can do, and that's where we start. We got to focus on what we can control, not what we can't control, especially when it comes to the damn system, because we all know they don't give a damn about us. They really don't. Michael Jackson said it best. Rest in peace and in power. They don't. I don't care how much they try to show like they do, show like they don't. We have entities out there that may do, but it's far and few. They're gonna hide individuals like that. So, It's just that's why we gotta educate ourselves, strip ourselves away from the old way of thinking, the old traditional ways that's not working anymore. We gotta educate ourselves now, go into our own without that system, even if the so-called stamps do come back or whatever, you know, get into a space where if they do come, like, don't even need it, and get used to that, develop our own way, always. I wouldn't say have a backup plan, because that's like setting yourself up for failure almost. So, but we do have to have somewhat of a plan, somewhat of a purpose. You can't just willy-nilly free fall through life. Danger, because the shutdown of the government, the things like this will happen, and it's not the first, and it's not going to be the last. So if those who are not aware of signs, and this is sort of a sign, and remember, Great Divine allows certain things to happen on this little small rock we call Earth, but again, you have to be in that. You can't be small-minded thinking, and have to be aware to see these things, like on one's banner. It's beautiful, It's where I always keep my mind. It's what elevates me. And when I'm speaking and doing podcasts, if we're fortunate to have a big screen, because I don't care about shit like that, but the only reason I have a big screen TV is because of my eyesight. I can't see like I used to. I wear glasses and stuff. So that's the only reason, the real reason why I got a big screen. But it's nice to have when we earn it. Don't get it'll be it. I won't be, because some people, they get a big screen TV. They got to get a bigger one, and I got to get a big one. No, that's not me. The one I got is good. I'm happy with the things that Great Divine has allowed one to have, And again, when we earn things and we work for what we have, and I'm not just talking about a job, just things in general, it's beautiful and it feels good. Again, when we earn our peace, earn what we have, and earn our rest, it just make life so fulfilling. Now, of course, I'm gonna have a hip hop break. I got a summary on spiritual awareness. Not that we don't know what spiritual awareness is, but it's important. And I'm telling you, when we're not aware, and because ignorance is dangerous, blind ignorance is so dangerous. And I made a video about that. Matter of fact, I'm gonna put that in the end screen. It was a video, actually tribute to a friend of mine that had transitioned, that passed away. My brother Lester, and may he rest in peace and in power. And his sister was a good friend of mine, and she's on that podcast. I think I had her voice on there, and I spoke on him in there. He was my inspiration for that video, and it has Tupac on. It's from the video Brenda Got a Baby, and it has the other sisters and brothers on the thumbnail. Then it got Tupac holding the baby on the banner, and again, it's a clip from Brenda Got a Baby. So I put that in the end screen, and it's called Blind Ignorance is Dangerous. And it is, because when you don't have no purpose or some kind of education about yourself or some kind of skill, again, and this could be male or female, not just sisters, because you got some brothers that do it too. But unfortunately, it's mostly what I've been seeing has been sisters, those that just haven't been working their skills and trying to work, and they're healthy. I've seen some of it on the internet, and it's sad. But if you haven't been searching inside yourself, I'm talking about, you've been putting in years and you haven't got no skills, you haven't been working, and you just been laying around eating, and now look, this is a sign. Some of us see it, some of us don't. But I call down protection in those that that they find a skill in them, that they find a way, that Great Divine helps them in their life, especially if they got children. But again, want not, waste not, want not. The old saying we say, if you waste your brain, man, I hate to sound cliche, but the mind, the body, and the soul is a terrible thing to waste. It really is. That's serious. That's more than a cliche. That's real. The brain is a terrible thing to waste. When we're not learning, it's the most important muscle in our body. I would say our heart. What a heart isn't a muscle, but the brain is definitely the most important part, because that's where everything's worked out and filtered through before it comes out our mouth, and our actions and our behavior. This is why most of our philosophers say study our mind, body, and soul. Seriously, I'm serious, because when we conquer that flesh, it's automatic that the deep spiritual will come. But we have to conquer that flesh, get out of that small-minded thinking. And again, I don't blame everything on brothers and sisters or or the public, or common man, common woman, because a lot of it is to do with this punk ass system. But it's not all of them. A lot of us, we in the information age. A lot of us know better, but we get so comfortable and think that we're always gonna get handout from things and not work for it. And then when we're cut off, we have no skills, no purpose, we're lost, and we go right to blaming them, when we knew better. Teachers, historians have told us about times like this upon decades. So, but a lot of us caught on and learned and started to transcend, and passed on information we have learned from historians, whether brother or sister. So it's not like a lot of us don't know. A lot of us is just, some of us now, I'm not talking about my lights or my generals. Some of us are just fucking bullheaded, and don't want to listen. But that time has come. We are who we choose to be. So we better stand on business, mind, body, and soul, and emphasis on listen to our righteous spirit right now. Bad behavior, negativity is not going to help. I used to say positivity, positive energy, or positivity or positive energy is free. Negativity can cost you all day long. Small or big, doesn't matter. Subtle will turn into aggressive. But all we can do is show those and share the fires that a lot of us have been through. That's what developed all these warriors out here, these generals, leaders, and teachers with a student spirit. Because of what I always say, the fires we have blazed through to get us to where we are. We paid attention to that divine spirit, what divine had lined for us. A lot of us had a hinkling of what was ahead. That's why a lot of us are doing good now. We put in the work, so it is not about that we are special. It's that we finally have become in tune with oneself. Like men dating, men are not approaching women like they used to. Men have become smarter, and we are not about the games anymore. And it is what it is. And that playing hard to get, all that shit gonna do is backfire on you. Relationships, and like Corey Hogan said, I heard him speak. Salute to Corey Hogan, one of my favorite comedians. I heard him speaking recently. If we're not 100% committed in relationships, leave it the fuck alone. Don't play games with people. Don't manipulate. Don't trick. Please stop that shit. Please, we gotta stop that. Even if a date goes south, as long as each party was honest with each other and it's like, just didn't work out, and just split ways and go on. Don't waste each other's time, because we can get wrapped up in narcissism and playing games and manipulation. That shit can go on for years, and I can attest to that. And we'll be wrapped up in it and won't even realize it. 10, 15 years being went by, and you've been wrapped up in this competitive narcissism, manipulative relationship. It's the worst, and it's danger. So we get to a level of awareness or age, and this could be brother or sister, but kind of speaking for my brothers and men in general, that I'm not siding, because they are good sisters. I always gotta kind of put emphasis on that, because I met them. There's good sisters out there. There's good women that know what it is. But the old saying goes, if you got brothers out here saying where the good women at, or you got women out here saying where the good brothers at, they're somewhere being good. I remember Corey Hogan said that, and that makes so much sense. That's why you don't see him out here, because a true brother, a true woman, or a true sister, a true brother or a true man, or a true sister and a true woman, there's someone standing on business. They're not out here like that. So that's why you don't see them. Those who are really fake and seeking attention and trying to make themselves look good on social media, them the ones you see posting all the time and trying to make it look like they got the best life and glamorous. Danger. Be ourselves. Be honest. If we're not fully committed, or we're thinking about getting with someone, and this for me too now, because I had to learn too in the past. Because we know in our gut what we're up to. We know our own intentions. We're not stupid. Some of us, we know what we're doing. So don't even try it. No need to split hairs. If we don't feel like we're committed and we want sex or money or some other superficial things, please don't do that. Don't waste each other's time. So again, I'm not no expert on dating, but it was true what Corey Hogan said. If you're not full on committed, don't even start a relationship. don't even waste our time. It's stupid, especially if kids are involved, So I've learned that. And we got to be unapologetic, And that's another thing that I'll quote Corey Holcomb said. When one is real within, this could be either party, male or female. The one that's not on shit, they'll feel it. They'll stray, they'll frequency out. They'll do something. Because when one is finally at that heightened awareness, we begin to see the toxicity in person, place, things. So those who are fake, just stop it. Stop it. Just stop. Don't enter into a relationship if you're not true with oneself and you're on bullshit. Period. Whether it's a romantic relationship, friendship, family ship, brotherhood, sisterhood. There's too much shit going on. If one don't know now, they'll never know. We have no time for that shit. If one is healthy, mind, body, and soul. Always got to put emphasis on that. Because, again, I'm not an expert on dating, but I just kind of observe and see things, So, like many of us do. Salute to my clairvoyant generals out there, male or female, brother or sister. Salute yourself and be proud. Not a toxic proud, just a righteous proud of, what a lot of us have become and the things that got us to where we are and got us stable to a place of spiritual awareness. But we got to break through that wall, that spiritual awareness. Kind of fumbled that. But we got to break through that flesh wall. Because that flesh wall, man, I'm telling you. Because I know it sounds easy and we hear a lot of uplifting things, but it's easier said than done. I kind of say that from time to time. Because the flesh, oh my God, the thoughts and the battles and the psyche, it can be a challenge. I'm telling you, but when we get there, we do things to maintain it and teach others. We study, research, and keep that stability, never lose it. Stand on business, brothers and sisters, mind, body, and soul. And don't forget to listen to our righteous spirit. Emphasis on righteous spirit. Hang on to it. You get a hinkling of righteous in one soul. Build off of it and find out what our skill is, our gift. I think everyone, as I said, Great Divine gave everyone a divine ability and or gift. We all have something, but not seeking or not searching and being a lazy thinker or just a lazy person, it's going to catch you in the long run. It's not a matter of if, a matter of when. So like I told my son, Lord Lamont, man, the beauty of a righteous human spirit is beautiful, man. It puts a smile on your face and a tear of joy. Man, you like, man, I'm glad I didn't do this. I'm glad I didn't do that. And you think of all the righteous choices one made. It feels so good, through the mix of the challenges, of course. But that's what builds us and makes us strong, right? So be thankful that whoever listening right now and the generals, current subscriber, new subscriber, anybody that view, brother, sister, family, be thankful that you didn't give up on yourself or others, children, family, significant other. And salute to those who are in a righteous relationship and strong, whether marriage or you're just together. And, especially if you've been together for a while, I salute, because I'm single, but I'm for those who are together and are married. That says something. Like my grandma and my granddad, rest in peace and in power. They were married for years, and they were, I would say my grandma was the glue that held the family together, but so was my granddad. He provided. He did what he was supposed to do as a husband. Now, he might not have been perfect, but he seen his grandkids and he watched his kids grow, and they kind of lived the American dream, so to speak. But we know what the American dream is, an illusion. But I'm just symbolic, just speaking, so to speak. But they lived a wonderful life, a full life, and did everything that they set out to do in their life. And things like that inspire me. I love seeing brothers and sisters, or male or female, if they're together romantically. I love seeing it work out. Hearing about, 14, 20, 30-year marriages. That's beautiful, because I know it can be challenging. Relationships, it takes work. It's not easy. That's why I said one have to be right within, right intent. Don't waste each other's time. And don't put it all over social media. This social media is making people fucking crazy. Seriously. I mean, I don't think I'm better than no one, but Again, I've graduated from social media. You can go on anyone. You can go on my Facebook. It's Brother S Care. You can go on X. It's what is what I got? EBX Cares, that Spellbreaker, something like that. You can go on there. I haven't posted in months. Same Instagram. I took my Instagram app off. I have no TikTok account. If I do have one, I took the app off my tablet or whatever. And I don't care for that stuff, and so we have to watch that traffic. We have to treat our social media traffic like we do our psyche. Watch what goes in, what goes out. I'm telling you, and we'll stay sharp and on fire in this life and maintain that general status that many of us have fought to get to and work hard to get to. So salute to the generals, brother, sister, and family that's put in the work to have a stable life. Even if you're just if you're not into deep spiritual things, but you have conquered your flesh and you're an upright human being, stay with it, and step into that spiritual. All it's gonna do, I'm talking about righteous spiritual. All it's gonna do is just make us that much more powerful and give us that much more clarity. Because you could never have too much clarity. Real talk. That's what a guide us through this life, like this shutdown and stuff. A lot of people, I hate to say it, it's mostly sisters. That's what I'm seeing. If they don't learn now, they'll never learn. And once once people get these stamps or whatever, they still shouldn't rely on it. But don't take the shit for granted, because Great Divine will spank that ass. It will allow certain things to happen, as well as Mother Nature. Because in my theory and their opinion that I was discussing with Lord Lamont, Great Divine, Mama Nature, is trying to get us back to our authentic selves. Get us back to how our ancestors was. Growing food, as I said. As crazy as it sound, Sister Bev at my job, as I spoke on, she knew a sister that was growing food, and she did this way before the food stamp thing. I don't know how many flower pots she had, but she said she had flower pots, and she was growing food in them. And I'm gonna do that. I spoke on it. We still are. Lamont and I, kind of some things kind of got in the way, and I had to make sure I had enough money and stuff like that, because I don't want to just be spewing out things. I want to make sure everything's right. And but we're gonna do it. But I thought that was a good idea, against some flower pots. So that's my advice to sisters that maybe not getting stamps. Get a couple flower pots while you got the money, if you can, and start growing your food. Do that if you got a porch, if you got a balcony, because I got a balcony. And I thought about that. I was going to put it in my room and grow some food. But I have a little space outside, but it's really not enough. And I think, and I got a balcony that I never use. I actually got two balconies. I got one big balcony in the front, and then I got a small balcony in the back. And I'm the second floor. I'm upstairs. And I got it's a nice size balcony too. And I've done videos where I had balcony, picture of my balcony on the banner and stuff like that. And I think that's a good place for me to grow food and get and I'm gonna get a whole bunch of flower pots. I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 maybe, and start growing my food. I'm gonna do it on a balcony, and I think that'd be even better, because that way I can get the sunlight and get Mother Nature. Because I think that'll be better than putting it in a room and putting light on it. And so I'm gonna do that. And I've never done it before, so it'll be a wonderful experience. Even if I just start out with one flower pot, And I know people might think that's corny, but you got to start somewhere. And it ain't even got to be a flower pot. It can be a flower bin or a dirt bin. It's one of those, it's like a rectangular thing, and it's like so big, like the size of a rectangle. Maybe, just enough to fit maybe 3 rows of whatever we're growing. Something like that. I can get 2 or 3 of them. It's so many. This is how we come up with solutions and create and come up with ideas. We think about it, So this is what I'm doing, and this is my advice to others. And again, this is good things we can get from social media, because again, I got this idea from a sister that was on Facebook that was showing people that she was growing food in flower pots. So I got a whole balcony I can use. So I'm going to do that. And in the future, I'll show pictures of it and videos of it, not for attention, just to show others, to inspire others to do the same thing. So that's what we got to do. Because our ancestors, they was some bad mother hubbers. When you really break it down, they was bad. I'm telling you, if we just can close our eyes and go back to what they dealt with, how hard it was for them. Because a lot of people pleasurize slavery and use it for attention, but it's more than that. Be an empath, put ourselves in their shoes, so to speak, and what they really seen and dealt with, with the raping, the killing, the sodomizing of the dad, of the brother in front of the family, shit like that, shit dungeons they had to stay in where they hardly had no food. And I've heard this from a brother that stays in Africa, and he said that the dungeons that they used to keep the slaves in, you could still smell it. The smell is still in it today, and that was decades ago. And this is over in Africa. They call it castles, but it's dungeons down beneath. And this is something I heard from another brother now. It's not nothing I'm coming up with that stays in Africa. Actually, I know 2 brothers that I'm connected to and a sister that lives on African soil. And that's horrifying when you think about things like that. So that's why I get angry when, brothers fighting against each other or speaking down on Africa. As I said, do our real research and studying on Africa before we talk about it. If we don't know shit about Africa, shut the fuck up. Real talk. Shut the fuck up. Real talk. Because I will always defend Africa, and I don't care who say what. I don't give a damn. And I've never even been over there, but I've studied and researched. I've been studying Africa. I've put in a few years. I've learned from, I'll even say names I've learned from. I've learned from Professor Griff. I've learned from Lance Skirb. I've learned from Kwaku. It's another sister that used to be on Lance Skirb's platform that was in Africa. But I've heard from various people, and not just people who are pleasurized that literally live over there. So I've studied it, and I've seen pictures Kwaku, have shown, and Lance have shown, and not just pictures, video. So there are some beautiful parts in Africa, so I just do what that divine tells me. Divine tells me to ride along with our brothers and sisters and support them, family, and look at the bigger picture, notice that, we disagree to agree or whatever, get over that shit and look at the bigger picture and stand with one another. But I don't disagree with anyone. Like I said, I'm an ally. I don't have no enemies. If I do have an enemy, they became an enemy themselves. I didn't make them an enemy. It goes back to like what Corey Holcomb said. When you real within, those who are fake, they're going to act all kind of different ways. They're going to be fidgety, and they can't look you in the eye, all type of dumb. It's just stupid how people are sometimes, especially those who are aware, healthy, mind, body, and soul. So that's why we got to listen to our righteous spirit. And just think, brothers and sisters, think of the times we made right choices, how it led us. I mean, we made multiple right choices, and it led us to so many great things. That's what I can use Alex Thomas as an example. My son and I were speaking on. His life is a prime example of I'm talking about Alex Thomas, the comedian. And I've seen him on interviews on Art of Dialogue. And I just want to kind of use him as an example, because his life is rare. He has a series of right choices he made in his life to get him to where he is. And to hear that brother speak and the stories he told is amazing. But it's not just him. It's many brothers and sisters out here. But I'm just using him as an example. The things he talked about and how he was able to not get caught up in the industry and all that, because he listened to his righteous spirit. And that's what would get us through life. That's what some people fail to realize. We cling to that righteous spirit. I'm telling you, so many great things will come about, even when it's not easy. Because when we're locked in to our spiritual awareness, that divine zone, and we standing on business, and we ain't taking no shit, man, we come through challenges through leaps and bounds, and it just get better and better. We get more and more powerful. But righteous power takes development, takes practice, takes teaching, awareness, listening, dealing with the little quirks and stuff we may have deep within, and the more we dig, the deeper we dig, the more we'll get into our subconscious and dig up all that garbage that we've been carrying for years, man. I'm telling you, I know, been there, so I'm passing on the torch, like those pass the torch to me, I'm passing it on to others. As I like to say, I'm just a messenger, and I'm trying my best to stay locked in to my righteous spirit, So let me get to this hip hop break, and And I got summary when I come back and 4 spell breaker statements. And I do have a page from my book that I wrote, page 7, and I wrote it 11/6/25. I might read it today, might not, because I meant to read it on the Chakra 7, Crown Chakra. I enjoyed that podcast, by the way. I did a podcast called the Crown Chakra 7. I put that in the end screen, and I'll put Blind Ignorance is Dangerous with Pac and some brothers and sisters on the thumbnail and or banner. And yeah. But y'all know I have a hip hop break. It's just to and I like other music. I know I always play hip hop, but music is I love all kinds of music. I always reiterate that. But you gotta watch the copyrights and stuff like that. So, and again, I put that disclaimer out there. The music I make is from Rap Fame. Salute to the beat makers on Rap Fame and the artists. And that's where I get my beats from. That I don't make them myself. It's from there, and that's where I make my music from. So. But I'm not trying to get paid from it. I'm just trying to give some righteous stimulation, because I'm going to keep hip hop alive. Positive energy keeps hip hop alive. People talking about hip hop, but hip hop ain't dead. No, it's not. We got to stop doing that. We got to speak good energy into hip hop. We got to watch what we say, because it's energy we putting out. No, let's revive hip hop. Let's stop talking about how hip hop is dead and all that. No, it's not. It's not. There are righteous brothers and sisters out there that's keeping hip hop alive. And that's what we got to do. Come up with solutions. Don't talk down on hip hop. Talking about hip hop this, and let's fix it. Let's build it back up. Great divine Mama Nature has put us in a time where it's trying to take us back to our authentic self. Thus, hip hop. That's a part of it too. Because all the gifts we have come through our DNA of our parents and stuff, but it all comes from the great divine and Mother Nature through our parents and grandparents. Ponder that. All right, now I'm gonna get to this hip hop break, and one song is for the sisters called "My Lady," and the other song, let me see. Because I got it. Like I said, I like my hip hop breaks because I try to stimulate. I like to stimulate one's mind righteously. Okay, the first song is "My Lady," and the second one is "Honor and Respect." We don't have honor and respect. That goes back to relationships. You ain't gonna have nobody. Like Corey Hogan said, if we're not full on committed and ready for a relationship, leave it the fuck alone. Don't play games with people, for real. Because wasting time is something you can't. Once you waste time like that, especially if you put in years, you can't get it back. And don't let bad relationships make us bitter. Keep that love, because we might miss love if we don't keep that love. Real talk. So this song is "My Lady," and so to speak. And let me see, get it ready. And the second one is "Honor and Respect," because if you don't got honor and respect, you might as well give it up. All right, this is for my sisters. This is called "My Lady." Be back after this.
EBX. I wanna be your king. You my lady, you my lady, you my lady, you my lady. And I want you to be my queen. You my lady, you my lady, you my lady, you my lady. I wanna be your king. You my lady, you my lady, you my lady, you my lady. And I want you to be my queen. You my lady, you my lady, you my lady, you my lady. I'm trying to see the inner core, yeah, the inner beauty, and straight to the soul, and not just your booty. But for real, that's the deal. Gotta keep her freaking look so sealed. One's here to help and also heal. I love the touch of a sister and a good meal. I ride by her side, yes I will, and have a lot of fun and sometimes chill. She my lady, and I wanna be a king. You my lady, you my lady, you my lady, you my lady. And I want you to be my queen. You my lady, you my lady, you my lady, you my lady. And I wanna be your king. You my lady, you my lady, you my lady, you my lady. my queen. Yeah. I wanna be a king, and you my queen. All you do is ask, I'll do anything. True to oneself, by any means. Gotta be free, so we can see the great divine work on you and me. Never bring drama, always bring peace. Cause you my lady, I never make you crazy. You is a rose, and my baby. Gotta be free, yeah. Cause I wanna be your king. You my lady, you my lady, you my lady, you my lady. Yeah. And I want you to be my queen. You my lady, you my lady, you my lady, you my lady. You my lady, you my lady. Are you my lady, you my lady? Are you my lady, you my lady, you my lady, you my lady?
Real talk, man. Yep. And this go for both parties. I'm just kind of, speaking for the brothers. Again, I know there's some good sisters out there. I've met them. In the past. Like I said, I was speaking a little further earlier in the podcast. My brother Les, his sister, we was like the best of friends, and I spoke in that Crown Chakra 7 podcast. I spoke on sisters I've met that they could be using the bathroom, and I'd be in there with them having a full-blown conversation. That's how close I've been with sisters. And my friend Les, rest in peace and in power, his sister, we had that kind of relationship. Her name's Stacy, Sister Stacy. And I'm gonna put that in the end screen, and I think I had her voice on there because I did speak to her because she was crying and bawling and everything, but I didn't tape all of it. I haven't spoke to her since then. It's been a little while, but I did console her and told her it's gonna be okay, and he don't have to suffer no more because he was kind of having some challenges. But again, rest in peace and in power, my brother Les, and everybody else, friends I grew up with that may have passed. May they rest in peace and in power. And my other brother I made a song for is my other brother that passed away. Rest in peace and in power. I made a song, Trey. It was a song called Rest in Heaven, Trey. And that's right here on my channel. Yeah, on our channel, me and Lord Lamont. Salute. But yeah, because I never forget those that I care about that transition, whether they're my family, brothers and sisters I grew up with. It could be a speaker, anybody, I just, again, like I said, I don't play with death. I don't play with great divine. I don't play with people's life, and I don't play with my own life. Because if you care about life and you care about your own life, you won't play with life or play with other people's life. Real talk. And don't take life for granted. Because I'm telling you, if you take life for granted, person, place, thing, and again, you don't care about nothing, and you're not learning anything, no purpose, and you're just lazy. Danger, danger, danger. I feel sorry for you. But at the end of the day, we better have honor and respect. It ain't no if. We better. And look at the bigger picture. Some of my sons say a lot. Honor and respect. That's the next song. And I'm going to be back. And I got a summary and 4 spell breaker statements. And I'm going to salute you divine warriors, you divine generals, on to your divine life. Brother, sister, family. Be back after this. Honor and respect, brothers and sisters. Have it, own it, need it.
I say honor and respect is what we should display. Don't you say? Honor and respect goes a long way. Never be afraid. Listen to what I say. And know I see the things going on every day. And this is why I get it out and I lay. And the person for my brothers and my sisters, never miss what you got. Opportunities, never miss it. Cause we choose what we do, and we never will lose. See it clear, reawaken, never be confused. Righteous things in this life is what we choose. Never be down, we can make it, and we always be brand new. Honor and respect, gotta keep it in the heart. Fuck be the star, good things is how we make it far. I say honor and respect go a long way. When you say honor and respect is what we should display. When you say it feels so good when brothers and sisters stick it together, any kind of weather, yeah, and to never let our love sever each other and stay true. I won't hate on you. Cause I don't know in this life what you've been through. I get it out my soul, only way that I can flow. I want my brothers and sisters in this world to just glow. Woo! You know why? Cause I got honor and respect. Goes a long way. When you say honor and respect is what we should display. When you say, I say honor and respect, it goes a long way. When you say, yeah, honor and respect is what we should display. Don't you say, when you say, every day, honor and respect is what we should display. Yeah. Keep respect, always respect yourself and respect others, and others respect you. Stay true, my soldiers and soldierettes. Salute. Yeah.
Real talk. Honor and respect goes a long way, brothers and sisters. And you notice what I said in there, you know, we do what we do. We never lose. I won't hate on you because I don't know what you've been through. I think that's what I said in that verse. Real talk. We don't know what each other has been through, you know, and get these perceptions of people, you know, and because that's why I say I love brothers and sisters that speak that hard truth. I love it, you know, and I mean, we can't, you know, we want people to lift us up and be positive and you know, but we got to take that hard truth too now. And a lot of people are going through that hard truth. Like I say, people make all these God quotes and, you know, God this and God that. But then now, quotation marks, we talking about the real God now. We ain't talking about that made up shit. We talking about the real God. Now, when the real God speaks, you know, when the truth, people talk about they want the truth until the truth hit them. Basically, you know, because I've been through hard truths. I had battles with oneself, but it just made one better. And it makes you more aware when you tap in, when you're honest with yourself, you know. And again, some of these sisters that's, you know, the ones that are now, I'm not beating up on my sisters, but I'm talking about the ones that have been lazy and not working and abusing the system and you know, but they, you know, all on social media acting like they this, that, and the third, but then reality hit their ass. And then they're on social media crying, you know, so we got to learn from it, not whine from it, you know, get better, you know, use this as a time again, like I was saying about the growing food, study that, start studying other areas, you know, than what we're used to. Again, that's why Great Divine and Mama Nature is allowing certain things to happen, because Great Divine, Mama Nature is infinity, has been here, as I love to say, has seen our kind come and go. It's nothing that we are doing as humans. Great Divine, Mama Nature hasn't already saw. So we might as well be righteous. We're not hiding. We're not sneaky. We're not powerful. We're not nothing. Well, we are something, but through that Great Divine, Mama Nature, we can be powerful. Real talk. So, and being powerful isn't always leading someone or having a bunch of things. Being able to have a powerful, independent mind, that's powerful. You know, standing on business, mind, body, and soul. And every hinkling day, every moment of the day, listening to our righteous spirit. That's what get us through at the end of the day, that righteous spirit, you know. So, and, you know, as many people say, the stamps and all that stuff wasn't meant to build a career off of and be on for the rest of your life. Again, some needed it, you know, like I'll say my son Ethan's mom, she was getting it, but she has worked, you know, she has had jobs in the past, and she got skills, and she's educated, and she know how to like fix things around the house and stuff like that, because she's had to do a lot of things herself. So, but in a way it worked in her favor. But, you know, she does have an illness. She has diabetes, but, you know, so she kind of needs the stamps, but she did right with them. You know, she wasn't doing like a lot of sisters out here. You know, she might not be perfect in relationships and stuff like that. But as I heard a great brother say, this is not mine now. As I heard a great brother say, we take the good, leave the bad. Remember, that's not mine. And that's true, you know, so that's what I extract from her. And if I said distract in the past, I think I said that on the podcast. It's not distract, it's extract. But I extract that from her. And I know what she's been through. So when you understand or understand human behavior, we can even understand those who may have not healed or somewhat toxic. But it goes back to, if one is healthy, standing on business, mind, body, and soul, one have to help themselves, at the end of the day. Again, we can be inspired by people, things, but it always go back to self-educated. Because I had to re-educate myself. I had to shed off all the things I was used to, how I used to talk, how I used to act. Man, it's crazy how I used to think. And it's not just me. Many of us used to be like this. How we used to think certain things were normal. That's how the system will have us. We got to break out of that shit. Fuck them. Get on this internet whining and shit and crying. I wish the hell I would. But you know what? Great Divine is going to protect those. Even the sisters, it's going to protect them too. But they're going to have to tap into their skills and abilities, things they can do. Can't just lay around. Life is not meant to be laying around and have lazy thinking and do shit. Because our kids are seeing this. We got to think about the future, because it's going to come, So going back to growing food, that's what I'm going to do. That's my advice to the sisters. Try that. It will lead to something else. Start growing your food. Buy some dirt, get some flower pots. Start growing your food. Start doing that. Other things. Think of a solution and not begging and whining and negative, because it's not going to help. It's not. People stealing and ready to do stuff, it's not going to help. You're falling right into that trap that they want you to fall in. If quotation marks on they. I'm not talking about the common man or common woman or brother and sister that's just trying to raise their families and raise their children and just live their life. I'm not talking about those kind of people. Those who are doing what we're supposed to do, And the shutdown, to some of us that are aware, it's not even a surprise. It's almost like we're not even surprised by it. A lot of us were kind of ready, prepared. It's too much information out here, depending on who we're listening to. We got to make sure we're listening to the right information. Even me, fact check my stuff. If I'm wrong on something, let me know. I don't want to get misinformation, because right information is what got one to the place I'm in now, So, all right, I want to read this summary and these 4 spell breaker statements, and I'm a salute you divine warriors on to your divine life. My spell breakers, leaders and teachers with a student spirit. Let's go. Let's talk about spiritual awareness. Not that we don't know. I just want to put it in our mind and our subconscious. All right. Spiritual awareness, because this is what a lot of people are need now. Real talk. Really need to get into that gut and tap into them skills. They're in there. Gifts, abilities. They're in there. Some of us is just too fucking lazy to go within and find them. All right. Spiritual awareness offers benefits such as improved mental and physical health. Remember, mind, body, and soul. One can't work without the other. It's impossible. A deeper sense of purpose and stronger relationships, which I was just speaking on. You gotta have righteous intentions in these relationships. Stop fucking playing with each other. It's ridiculous. It can lead to increased resilience, optimism. Something we need. Optimism is a good thing, and creativity, while reducing symptoms of depression, anxiety, and substance abuse. Yes. Spiritual awareness provides coping mechanisms for difficult times and can lead to greater emotional regulation and a sense of peace, a whole peace. See, when you stay on yourself, when you stay aware and you stay studying things like the garden thing I was talking about and educating yourself, and you just, man, you're always looking to learn something. Man, I'm telling you, we'll amaze ourselves, but we got to be in that space. Again, if we just been laying around and doing nothing and wasting time, and then something pop out the blue, boom, you ain't even ready. We got to get out of that mind. And I'm talking to my black people, some of them now, not all of us, some. We got to get out of that lazy ass mentality. Real talk. I've been there. All right. Mental and emotional benefits. Reduced negative states spiritually can decrease symptoms of depression and anxiety when we get deep and serious into our divine spirituality and not just a fad or trying to sound good, clout chase, or attention. It's just, you just doing it all for nothing. You're not hitting the core. All right. Greater emotional resilience. This is what spiritual awareness can do. It fosters character strengths like optimism, grit, and forgiveness, and help us cope with life challenges more productively. See, when you keep yourself in a ready mode, a skill mode, a learning mode, again, like the shutdown and shit, that, et cetera, et cetera, we'll be somewhat, again, we can't be ready for everything, but we can damn sure have our mind in a place where we can think of a solution. We can come up with something, because one thing about the devil never stops. Devil never stops. And it preys on the weak. Real talk. Because if you break the devil down, everybody has their different views and theories on the devil, but if you break the devil down, it's really a coward. And the devil can't work without a weak human being. The devil's a parasite, can't work without a host. So those who've been lazy thinking and not learning shit, you have become a host. Got to break out of that shit. Tap into them skills, especially my sisters. Man, I always say, if they only, black people in general, but I'm kind of speaking on my sisters, some sisters do know their power. And I'm talking about a righteous power. But the sisters only know the power they possess. Out here crying over some damn stamps. Again, go back to our ancestors. Sisters didn't have no damn stamps and no fucking internet. Are you kidding me? It hurts me, but also kind of makes me angry because I know I see better in us. I know how powerful we can be. I've done some research on historians and what sisters have done. Sisters have started this whole thing. Everything come from a sister. Real talk. Light come from darkness, I heard from my brother. So everything come from a sister, So, sister and a brother, we the only one that can make any kind of color of a child. It can come out, it can light brown, dark brown, light brown. You know what I'm saying? That's evidence right there. We only knew the power. Well, sisters, they only knew the power they possess. If they tap into it, so. But at the end of the day, Great Divine is going to protect those sisters too, because part of it is the system. It's not all of them. It's some of them though. Some sisters do need to be accountable for laying around and not doing nothing and all that. But again, the system set that up, for that to happen. But a sister have to be in a place of seeing that. So again, my advice: get some flower pots, get some dirt or some kind of flower bin or whatever, and start growing your food. Start there and keep it going. Don't stop. Even when the stamps do come, if they do come or whatever, I don't get stamps, but I know how it feel. I'm an empath, so I don't want to see people hurt. I don't want to see people suffer. But at the same time, one has to see the truth and know the truth. But growing our food is a place to start. Real talk. And it don't matter where we are, in the city, if you're fortunate to have a lot of yard, that's where you start. Get into them skills. Look up things about nature. Get books on nature. Learn shit. Stimulate our mind. Fuck all this begging shit. Real talk. But I love my sisters. At the end of the day, they're going to be all right. Real talk. Great Divine is going to protect them. Because part of it is the system. That's why the Great Divine going to protect them. But one has to listen to that divine spirit or that righteous spirit, right? Stand on business. All right. I'm going to get to these 4 spell breaker statements. And again, I'm a salute you, Divine Warrior Zone. I'm not going to read the other page of my book because I got in the zone and time kind of got away from me. I do got to go to work today, to be honest. And but stuff like this this is therapy. And I always feel fired up, when I do a podcast before I go to work. But I'm going to read these 4 spell breaker statements just to put some power in a brother or a sister, mind, body, and soul. And keep standing on business if you are. And those, who aren't, if you're seeking, you'll get there. All right. Spell breaker statement number 1. Never compromise our mind, body, and soul. Never compromise ourselves to do something wrong. Stay with it. Play out scenarios in our life. I've brought up before. I did a podcast on that. I bring it up every now and then. Sometimes visualizing and playing out scenarios can save our life. That's called spiritual awareness. All right. Spell breaker statement number 2. Never lose our love, integrity, and learning. Don't let ways and sways of the world take that learning away from us. Learn things. Don't get so comfortable in this punk ass system. Stay learning and keep love within. Don't let toxic things around us take away, especially the love of oneself. Real talk. So spell breaker statement number 3. We are our best teacher at the end of the day, because no one knows us better than we know ourselves. And once we get to know ourselves righteously, woo, man, I'm telling you, it's beautiful if we're in that space, if we're not too much relying on this punk ass matrix. All right. Last but not least, for spell breaker statement number 4, maintain our stability, at all costs, righteously. Because again, think of the fires, things we've got through, we've came through. We can't let things take it away. There were moments where some of us were developing ourselves when nothing or no one else was around. So don't let no matrix, no system, I don't give a fuck, politicians tap in to that stability that we have built within our soul and in our body, mind, body, and soul. Real talk. And tap into any skill we have. There's a trillion billion gifts out there Great Divine has for us. We got to reach inside and connect with it, then that Great Divine will have us shining on the outside. And when I say shiny, I'm talking about showing our experiences and sharing it to our generals. Again, got to be in the business of building generals at the end of the day. So thank those for coming in to another edition of EBX Discussion and/or EBX and Lord Lamont Show. And as I said, he and I will have a father and son discussion Friday. And I wasn't going to tell it, but we're going to speak on some hip hop. I've been observing some things about hip hop. And again, I'm going to keep hip hop alive the best way I can. Talk about it, doing music. So my son and I, he's going to have some information. I text him, and we're going to go in pretty deep on hip hop about keeping it alive. I ain't going to say what the title is yet, because I don't want to give it all away. But that's my advice to those who were getting stamps and not getting them anymore. As we all say, go back to our authentic self, tap into our skills, find another way, because you're wasting, sisters that are doing this now, wasting energy on the internet. You make yourself look stupid, begging and shit. You could be using that time to learn about nature and growing food and things you can do. You might amaze yourself, this brother or sister though, you might amaze yourself if we tap in to the skills, because karma for those who meant bad for others, they'll get their just due. This punk ass matrix, they'll get their just due. My sister's gonna be all right. Even the ones that's got caught off guard and maybe have been a little lazy, and now's the time to get up off your ass. Those who's having kids and not doing shit, now's the time to learn. The kids are watching. But again, I call down great protection, for ourselves and from ourselves. That we that we do our best not to become our own worst enemy, because we can't see solutions or solve things if we let that in, if we got an enemy within, because that's the worst enemy of all. Damn this enemy on the outside. If we don't conquer that enemy within, we've already lost. So that's why we got to stand on business, mind, body, and soul, and and be the warriors we have been. There's a warrior and a general in all of us. We just got to tap into it, and we'll thank ourselves and love ourselves later. So again, thank those for coming in, and stay with it, and keep that divine spirit locked in, and always and forever, brothers and sisters, listen to our righteous spirit. Salute. Has been brought to you by Mama Nature. and that great divine.